We've been crying now for much too long, and now we're gonna dance to a different song. Gonna scream and shout till my dying breath. Gonna chazz it up till there's nothing left. Ooh, chazz it up. Chazz it up, chazz it up! Hey guys, it's Martin Billany, also known as LittleKuriboh here, with yet another review of a dub episode of YGO GX. I almost said a dumb episode of YGO GX, and that wouldn't exactly narrow things down, would it? A dub episode, home of the phrase chazz it up. And while this isn't a super chazz-heavy episode, I think there's enough chazz within it to warrant chazzing it up. So everybody in the comments, you have my permission to go right ahead and chazz things up a little. We're gonna chazz it up a notch. Bam! It's chazzed up. It's done. Yeah, for those of you who are new to these videos, this is a series where I watch an episode of YGO GX every single week and then post my reactions to it online, to the internet, for them to do with as they will. Please don't try and frame any of these comments as a serious assessment of the quality of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or YGO GX, or the dub of it, because frankly I'm having a great time watching it. So no matter how negative I sound in these videos, trust me, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm having a great time. And you can have a great time too if you go to crunchyroll.com or hulu.com or yugioh.com and you can watch all of these episodes with me as I go. And you should, because you'd be supporting the official release. Experience Yu-Gi-Oh! In all its forms. Card game form, anime form, perfume form. You wanna smell like card games, right? You wanna smell like Exodia, don't you? You wanna smell like you're the forbidden one. That's the most alluring scent you can think of. But you gotta spray yourself with 5 different kinds of perfume in order to achieve that smell. Achieve that smell. Achieve that smell! You gotta do one thing today. You better achieve that smell. Achieve it. I believe in you. Maybe you can't achieve your dreams, but you can achieve a smell. But yeah, I'm legitimately enjoying watching this show. I'm not lying. I'm being 100% serious. It's a fun watch. And honestly, I think part of that is because I've started to sort of delve into the card game side of things a little bit more. Because GX is nothing if not focused around the card game even more than, say, Duel Monsters was, which is saying something. But GX takes it to a whole new level by having the characters be at a school specifically to learn about the card game. And I won't lie, the card game was never like the #1 reason why I watched the show. I mean, I could enjoy the card game element, but it wasn't why I was watching. But now that I've sort of gone to grips with the card game a little bit more, not like, I'm not an expert, but now that I know a little bit more about it, I'm finding myself surprisingly invested in GX. So maybe that's what I was missing before. Maybe I was legitimately sort of approaching it from the wrong angle, and that made me resistant to it. So all this time I feel like I've just sort of had the wrong perspective on the show. But yeah, having a great time watching it right now, gotta admit. So yeah, episode 4 of YGO GX, and in the dub, this one is titled Raring to Go, which, as most 4Kids episode titles, is a form of dad joke, because you see, the episode features quite predominantly a number of rare cards. It's kind of the driving force of the episode. So yeah, the episode both features rare cards, and the characters are raring to go. Yeah, that's about as much enthusiasm as I can muster for that. I am not raring to go. Not after reading that title. So bizarrely, the first shot of the episode is a number of like military craft, like their attack helicopters and like a ship, and they're like going toward Duel Academy Island. And then we hear the captain speaking over the radio saying that they're transporting valuable cargo that a number of people are trying to get. He mentions attack subs. These people have been attacked by foreign powers for whatever it is they are holding. This valuable cargo. This item that they're transporting is so desired that a country felt like spending its military budget to protect it. So it must be something, you know, really bloody crazy. Like a warhead, right? No! It's not a warhead. It's not a weapon of any kind. And it's not like diplomatic secrets that could bring a government down. It's trading cards. It's trading cards. Yes! I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. I'm not lying. Multiple attack helicopters. An enormous battleship that needed to defend itself from attack subs. And presumably many people died in the process, because when a submarine attacks you, you don't just like leave. They must have either destroyed that submarine, or the submarine must have succeeded in destroying some of their forces and then they escaped with minor losses. But somebody died in the process of transporting Trading cards. I think that's a perfectly rational conclusion to make. Somebody must have died in this operation. Military vehicles are escorting trading cards. So the show has taken it to a whole other level. I could understand if they were transporting a dual disc, because as we've learned from watching previous episodes of this show, those things are bloody dangerous. Like they have the potential to both electrocute people or set them on fire. We've seen that happen twice now. So if you were to put like ballistic missile attack, the trading card, into a dual disc, you start an international incident from playing a card game. But that's the dual disc doing that, not the card. So I don't know why they have to protect these cards. Anyway, yeah, military convoy for a children's card game. Totally normal. And then we get the opening theme to GX, which of course could only be improved if it were performed by Will Smith and were a rap about chazzing it up. It's the only way it could be better. And then we see over at the Slifer Red dorm, Jaden is fast asleep while Cyrus is praying to an altar for Slifer the Sky Dragon, which might sound ridiculous, but in canon, it actually is totally sensical, because Cyrus is praying to an Egyptian god, and if Yu-Gi-Oh has taught us anything, it's that the Egyptian gods are real and we should be terrified of them, because they will murder us if we attempt to paint them. That happened. So Cyrus is, if anything, very wise for doing this. You see, Cyrus is really afraid of failing the Duel Academy exam that they're having today, and if anybody's going to be able to help you pass a trading card exam, it's a giant two-mouthed dragon from ancient Egypt. These kids these days would probably have a much easier time with their educations if they just gave themselves to Slifer. Just pray to Slifer before you do your math homework every night, and you'll be fine. Slifer, god of getting the correct answers in your arithmetic test. That's what he was god of. And Cyrus has, like, Monster Reborn on the altar, and he's, like, put a bunch of Monster Reborns, like, around a headband across his forehead. He's literally treating the trading cards like they're gonna be able to bless him. I like the idea that Monster Reborn is the most holy and OP of cards, and that it will somehow have cosmic abilities. I mean, he's been a little bit daft, because as Jaden has shown, if you have a Monster Reborn, just slip it in with your test answers and you'll get them all right. Having Monster Reborn makes you win. Jaden's alarm clock goes off and Cyrus tries waking him up because obviously if he doesn't wake up he's going to be late for the exam. And Jaden screams that he played a trap in his dream and then punches Cyrus to the floor. Imagine not even being able to escape card games even in your dreams. I would frankly go insane. Comic relief and endangered species Chumley leans over his bunk and tells Cyrus that he should let Jaden sleep because it would be totally licious if Jaden missed the exam. Totally licious is apparently what qualifies as his catchphrase, because the second half of their exam is a field test, and if Jaden isn't there to compete, they don't have to worry about beating him, because I guess he's the best in their dorm. Cyrus says he's starting to see why Chumley was held back 2 years. No, it's probably because he apparently never leaves his bed. That would probably do it. Being absent from 100% of your classes tends to get you held back. Cyrus leaves for the exam and says he'll save Jaden a seat. Wait, why don't they have assigned seating in a test? Why do you have to save him a seat? Is this like that locker situation? Can nobody at Duel Academy figure out how chairs work? What, because you don't sit down when you play card games, you don't see any use for the chairs. So you just stand there looking at them being like, what do you do with this? What? Later on, Jaden is also seen running toward the school saying, wow, that Chumley sure can cook. And he mentions having a 5-course breakfast, which is obviously suggesting that Chumley tried to delay Jaden, but it also means that Chumley didn't go to the test as well. Chumley's not even there. So his plan to have an advantage in the test caused him to miss half the test. Alright? And as he's going to school, Jaden sees a lady struggling to push a van up a hill to get to Duel Academy. And he has a moment's hesitation where he struggles with the idea of just leaving the woman to fend for herself or keep going to the school, presumably because only one of those options allows him to play a card game. But then he decides to aid the helpless woman who obviously is struggling. The lady asks if he's from the auto club and he says, "Don't let the red jacket fool you." I guess that's an auto club joke. Definitely gonna land on the 12 to 15-year-old audience that this show is aimed at. They just love vehicular repair humor. And then Jaden says this.
I'm just your average good deed dude.
No, you're the average off dude. As in you're the kind of dude that people say off dude 2. The lady comments that she'll be sure to remember this later, and Jaden says, how about next time you remember that extended warranty? More of that vehicular repair humor. Kids'll love it. Inside the classroom, Professor Banner is supervising the exam, and Jaden finds Cyrus sleeping in his seat, so he wakes him up. And all of this commotion, of course, is distracting to Chazz, who tells them to keep it down from a few rows back, because some of them are trying to pass. And what's really missing here is a shot of Chazz's paper where he's filled in all the answers as Chazz it up. And he gets them all right. That was the answer. Everybody else fails. So Chazz gets an A in Chazzing It Up 101. Which is what this class has been the whole time. Professor Banner tells Jaden to come get his exam, and while he's doing that, Alexis thinks that Jaden will be lucky if he passes. And what's missing here is a shot of Alexis's paper where all the answers have been filled in with
fusion monster cards, trap cards, normal traps, ritual monster cards.
That's clearly not the answer! The answer's Chazz It Up! Put that! Meanwhile, Bastian, their posh head, is watching Jaden thinking, not in those exact words, but that's a good summation. And then we fade out and fade into Jaden and Cyrus sleeping on each other, meaning that Jaden probably didn't get a chance to answer most, if not all, of the questions. But apparently that's okay, because as we're gonna find out throughout the course of this episode, apparently the written test didn't mean jack, because at no further point does it get brought up, and it doesn't seem to affect how well Jaden does at all. In fact, quite the opposite. So what even was the written test for? Presumably so that we could see Jaden being hysterically lazy, because that's his one other character trait, aside from card games. 2 character traits there. See if we can find a third. Professor Banner announces to the class that the exam is over, and they can take a break to go get today's new rare cards that just arrived. And the entire class riots! They lose their freaking minds! They go apeshit for these trading cards. Meanwhile, Jaden and Cyrus are, of course, fast asleep still, so Bastian has to wake them up. And they have to be woken up by Bastian. If I could be woken by anyone, I guarantee you Bastian Masawa, bottom of the list. Cyrus wakes up and starts crying because he thinks he's failed the test. But don't worry, Cyrus, because apparently it doesn't matter. Cyrus and Jaden ask where everybody else went, and Bastian responds,
that's what I was trying to tell you. The new rare cards arrived today. Everyone's at the card shack.
That's what I've been trying to tell you. Oh, I just want to punch him! Even when he's just giving basic plot information. Clock him one. Cyrus is baffled because nobody told them about the rare cards, and Bastian says, well, that's because everybody wants the rare cards for themselves. And he does this lean. Look at that lean! Look at that posh head lean. Look at it! What is that? That's not right. Don't try and tell me that's a normal lean. That is a posh head lean. Textbook. That lean, though. Cyrus quite rightly asks why Bastian isn't going to get the rare cards, and he says that one errant card would throw off his deck's perfect balance. I'd like to throw off your perfect balance by throwing you, and then you'll lean, because your back won't be able to make that shape anymore. Jaden is all excited about the new rare cards, so he says, there's nothing like the smell of new cards in the morning. Once again, more evidence that Jaden can smell card games. What do you think card games do smell like? Wet cat? Freshly picked gooseberries? A new car? Tell me in the comments what you think card games smell like. I'd be fascinated to learn. Then we cut to the front of the card shack, where dozens of students are like clawing and clamoring like zombies to get in, and then the military escort shows up and forms a line, and the captain of the ship leads the new cards down the aisle with his briefcase, while the students chant, cards, 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 cards. I'm not joking, watch. Cards, cards, cards! This is kind of amazing. I wish the Duel Monsters anime had had more moments like this, where they'd be able to just shamelessly point out how ridiculous this concept is by making the characters behave like this. This episode is a lot of fun. The captain invites all of the kids to come into the card shack and get their new rare cards. And I do have to wonder just how much of the military's budget is being spent transporting these trading cards. Because it clearly isn't the only duel school, nor the only place you can acquire rare cards. Maybe that's how the world of Yu-Gi-Oh was able to achieve world peace, by just funneling all of the military's money into trading card protection, so that there was none left over for fighting a war. We should look into that. Seems like a foolproof deterrent, really. But then when the kids get into the card shack, they see that the briefcase has no rare cards in it, because they've already been picked up by a mysterious disguised man, who could be literally anyone. I don't know who that is. Anonymous fella. Who dat? I don't know. Mr. What's-his-face over there. This whole scenario revolving around a briefcase with something valuable inside it makes me wonder if the briefcase from Pulp Fiction didn't just have a shiny blue eyes inside of it. Either that or it had a card with Ving Rhames' soul on it. Kinda like the card that Mokuba and Kaiba's souls were in. Cyrus and Jaden show up to the card shack after everybody's left, and Jaden waves to the girl behind the counter and says, "Hey, counter girl!" A bit disrespectful. "You have some cards left, don't you?" And she says, "Yeah, we've got normal card packs, but no rare cards." And she slides a card pack across the counter to them. And Jaden yells, "We said some, not one!" Okay, massively disrespectful. Jaden tells Cyrus that he can have that pack, and Cyrus is very grateful for Jaden's gesture, but worries that Jaden is going to fail the field test as a result. And Jaden replies,
No way, Cy. I may flunk now and then, but I never fail.
"Yes, you do. You are like a long string of failures that have wrapped up and tangled themselves into the shape of a person that I want to kick." Then who should show up but the lady that Jaden helped out earlier in the episode? And Jaden says, "Oh, do you work here too?" And then the lady has what might be my favorite quote from anything ever.
Oh no, I don't work here, I own here.
Holy shit! That's like one of my favorite lines from any character in any form of media now. I want a t-shirt that says, "I don't work here, I own here." You'd wear that, right? I want that. I don't work here, I own here. If I had the option of a yearbook quote, that would be it. So there's a freebie for you guys trying to think up one. And then after the lady drops that bombshell of a quote, she says, "Cool, huh?" And Jaden says, "Nah, that's not cool. That's totally sweet." And then the lady tells Jaden that she has a special surprise for him, just for helping her out, which is presumably going to be a rare card that lets him win the field test, but let's not act like this show is predictable. Later on, Chazz and his Chazz leaders are approached by that mysterious stranger who took all the rare cards, who in a shocking twist turns out to be Crowler. Haw! And Crowler explains that he wants Chazz to duel Jaden in the field test and beat him with these rare cards. And Chazz points out that he's in a separate dorm from Jaden, so they won't let him duel him in the field test. And Crowler says,
I am they. I'll make it happen.
Why is there so much Palpatine-esque dialogue in this show?
I will make it legal to activate Monster Reborn on Lord Vader.
Any excuse to talk like Palpatine, really. Then later, Crowler has indeed arranged it for Chazz to duel Jaden in the field test. And the ever-headstrong Jaden agrees to the circumstances, telling Chazz to get his game on. How dare you, Jaden? Chazz is clearly not gonna get his game on. Not when he has the option of chazzing it up. The duel begins and Chazz tells Jaden to bring it, Slifer Slacker. And you know, in retrospect, Chazz has every right to call Jaden that, because Jaden has almost literally slept through the entire day. So to call him a Slifer Slacker is not only accurate, but warranted. So Chazz is just right. Hashtag Chazz was right. Jaden draws a card and looks at it and says it's his favorite furry friend. And then Joey Wheeler goes away and Jaden looks and he's like, "Oh, it's YGO." And while looking at YGO, Jaden says he's gonna rain down some serious skills on Chazz. Oh no, you're not. Next time I draw a YGO card, I'm gonna tell my opponent that I'm about to rain down some serious skills on him and see how seriously I get taken. Spoiler, not very. Jaden summons elemental hero Clayman, and everyone has a shocked reaction for some reason, even though he's used that card multiple times in the series already. I can only imagine they were shocked because he somehow managed to summon a card in defense position again. And immediately from the get-go, Chazz starts using the rare cards that Crowler's given to him, starting with Magic Mallet, which lets him put cards that he doesn't want back in his deck and then draw as many as he put in there. And then he draws Magical Mallet again and does it again. I haven't been this annoyed by a mallet since Timmy Mallet. Some of you will get that. Not many, but some. Chazz is able to summon V-Tiger Jet and W-Wing Catapult, which both then merge into VW Tiger Catapult. I didn't even know Volkswagen were branding Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And with this monster, Chazz is able to send a card to the graveyard in order to change the position of one of Jaden's monsters. So he forces Clayman to stand up. Would have just been easier to play the Clayman national anthem. Chazz fires missiles to destroy Jaden's Clayman. Meanwhile, Crowler is watching from like a VIP box with the school's chancellor. And Crowler is like pressed up against the glass being like, "My goodness, it looks like Jaden can't play with the big boys after all. I guess he's not as good as everyone thinks." Like trying to subconsciously make the chancellor think that way by screaming it. But the chancellor's just like staring blankly ahead, as if this behavior is perfectly normal. So I don't know, maybe Crowler does speak in heavy-handed monologue all the time. Jaden responds by saying he's just getting warmed up, and then he summons a card saying, "Here's a guy who can really turn up the heat." And you're thinking, oh, he's gonna summon like Flame Wingman somehow, because of flames. You know, fire, heat, that. But no, he summons elemental hero Sparkman. So what was all the fire wordplay about? Did getting hit by a series of missiles throw off the pun center of your brain or something? Here's a guy with a lot of electricity, if you know what I mean. Flame Guy! Watching the duel, Cyrus comments to himself that it's not fair that Chazz has all these rare cards. Yeah, that guy for having trading cards that Jaden doesn't. It's almost like he collects cards or something. What a fucking cheat. Having cards. Where does he get off? Even meanwhile here, Alexis is also watching the match, thinking, how can Jaden fight back if he doesn't know what he's fighting? And I'm like, have you people fucking played this game before? You must have come across a situation where you didn't know all the cards in the other person's deck. You can't call bollocks on a deck just because you don't know what's in it. That's not cheating. That's you being an idiot. You idiot. How did you get into this school? Chazz uses a bunch of different cards in order to summon XYZ Dragon Cannon. You know, Chazz, you're not really dissuading the Kyber comparisons with that. And then he combines both of his convoluted monstrosities into VZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. And then Chazz points at his monster and says, "Makes your Sparkman look like a heap of spark plugs." Okay, I get it. Whoever wrote this episode likes cars. And Chazz's new monster effect allows him to banish one of Jaden's monsters on the field per turn. And he gets rid of Sparkman. Jaden wisely consults with Winged Kuriboh before going ahead and summoning him. Remember, before you play a card, be sure to consult with it first. Get its permission. Chazz takes his turn and he says he's gonna cook that Kuriboh, and he likes them well done. Wait, he eats Kuribohs? Keep him away from me then. And then Chazz attacks with the VZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. Hang on, he just finished telling us that his monster effect allowed him to banish a monster on Jaden's side of the field once per turn. And Jaden only has one monster out on the field. And Chazz avoided using the effect and chose instead to attack, even though he could have used the effect and then attacked. So, what the fresh hell, Chazz? Seriously. It's more like spazzing it up than chazzing it up, isn't it? Jaden activates his face down card, Transcendent Wings, which is OBVS, the card that the shack owner gave him. Transcendent Wings evolves Winged Kuriboh into a level 10 Winged Kuriboh. And Jaden explains that by sacrificing level 10 Winged Kuriboh, he not only destroys Chazz's monster, but does damage equal to his attack points to Chazz. Sure is a good thing that that shack lady had a card that was specifically only advantageous to Jaden. Chazz says that Jaden got lucky, and Jaden replies saying, "Nope, I just have a soft spot for old ladies," not realizing of course that nobody else in that room has the context for his comment, except maybe Cyrus. So now everyone in the school just believes that Jaden likes it wrinkly. Jaden summons elemental hero Avion, attacks Chazz and wins. Crowler screams out loud that this couldn't be possible, not with all the rare cards that he gave to Chazz. And the Chancellor's like, "What's all that about rare cards?" And Crowler's like, "Oh, nothing, I'm leaving." And the Chancellor laughs off the inherent corruption within the education system. Jaden says, "That's game. It's game. It's game." And the Chancellor gets on the school speaker system and specifically congratulates Jaden for giving such a good performance and says he's going to put him in raw yellow now because he's so good. He's so good that within the first month of being in the school, he's being upgraded to the next best dorm. That's just how good your protagonist is. No amount of adversity is even gonna faze him. I mean, how could you not like that? Also, once again, want to point out that Jaden slept through the first half of the exam and still was able to be promoted to Raw Yellow, despite totally failing half of it. Not just failing, but not even really trying. He still succeeds far better than anybody else there. This moment of celebration was apparently planned for because confetti starts raining down from the ceiling, and all the students there mistake the confetti for trading cards and they start murdering each other to try and collect them. Nah, not really. Later on at the Slifer Red dorm, Chumley is directing Cyrus to put up an advertisement for a new dorm mate, and then he tells Cyrus to make him some grilled cheese. Oh, so you'll make a 5-course breakfast for Jaden on the off chance that it'll give you a slight advantage in a test, but you won't make yourself some grilled cheese. That is heretofore unexplored levels of laziness. I actually kind of admire that. Cyrus is sad that Jaden is gone now, but then Jaden surprises everybody by returning and being like, I still live here. That's one of my top 5 nightmares actually, is Jaden Yuki showing up to my front door and saying, by the way, I live here. Cyrus is elated and Jaden says that yeah, Raw Yellow is nice with their clean sheets and their lack of cockroaches. Hang on. Clean sheets. What are you doing in the sheets and why aren't you cleaning them? It's not really a dorm specific thing. Invest in a bucket and some soap. Cyrus bursts into tears and rushes to Jaden, embracing him and crying all over him. And Jaden has a good long chuckle at Cyrus's emotional outburst. And Jaden comments to himself, hey, at least red doesn't stain as easy as yellow. I don't know, it depends what you're staining it with. And that is the end of episode 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, raring to go. And they really were raring to go in that episode. Maybe that's why they need the clean sheets. But yeah, I think it's hysterical that this whole episode is structured around taking an exam, but the first half of the exam doesn't even matter. It meant nothing. It was meaningless. He slept through it. No, he did. He slept through the exam for the most part. I assume he didn't really study that much as well, because there's been no real evidence of him doing so. So Jaden just sort of just coasts his way through school. That's the plot of this show. Coasting. And just pulling off an upset at the last minute, and then you get rewarded for it. That's his gimmick. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it really does seem like Jaden is just able to just sort of wing it and do really well regardless. And I know it's because the show is mostly aimed at the kids who want to sleep through class and just focus on card games, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see him do so well and try so little. Anyway, let me know what you think. And don't forget to let me know what you think card games smell like as well. I'm genuinely interested. I want to know some of the best suggestions for what they smell like, given the evidence that we've seen or smelled. I'm sure a lot of you guys who play card games more than I do probably have more experience smelling them. So please tell me what you've learned. Well, thanks for joining me for this video. I want to give once again a whopping big shout out to all of our Patreon pledges for this month. You guys are spectacular. You guys give us so much and you give us so much chance to work on the things that we want to work on and do them the way we want to do them. Stuff like these videos where I'm having a whale of a time. I don't know if you could tell, I'm having a blast. But it's because of you guys. Thank you. And remember, if you want to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX along with me, you can watch it at Hulu.com, Yu-Gi-Oh!.com, Crunchyroll.com. We can watch GX together. And what better way is there to watch it, really? I'll see you next time.
Oh, hey, you work here too?
Oh no, I don't work here. I own here. Cool, huh?